They said no one who entered Idu-Ọjọ ever came out the same. Some never came out at all. Others returned with white hair and empty eyes, speaking slowly as though their mouths had forgotten the rhythm of speech. Some came back speaking only in proverbs or laughing at nothing for days. And yet, on that dusty Tuesday morning, Emeka went in. Emeka was a school teacher from Nsukka and he had lost something he couldn't name. His wife Nkem had passed a year ago. It wasn't sudden. Sickness had drained her like water from a cracked gourd, but it felt sudden all the same. Though people brought him food, hugged him and told him to be strong, something in him had gone quiet. The house felt bigger than before. He stopped wearing his watch. He said he was looking for answers, but even he didn't know the question. His steps were not guided by reason but by an ache that had no name but demanded a journey. He heard the drums before he saw the village. Low, slow, steady, like someone knocking on a closed door from the other side. The sound came and went with the wind, but it always returned. Some beats were deep, like thunder rolling in the belly of the earth. Others were soft, like footsteps behind you when no one should be there. But he kept walking. The road was overgrown, the trees pressed too close. He had to push vines aside just to breathe. The deeper he went, the stranger the air became, thicker, cooler, as if it belonged to an older world. Insects chirped in odd rhythms, a flock of birds flew backward for a second before vanishing. Finally, the path opened. The village lay ahead, sleeping under the midday sun, a place abandoned by time, a place holding its breath. That was the first thing Emeka noticed. Smoke curled from a fire pit but froze halfway into the sky like grey ribbon. A woman stood by a mortar, a pestle hovering inches above it. A goat balanced on 3 legs, blinking mid-step. Chickens were caught in the act of pecking, their beaks open but still. The silence pressed in. Not the quiet of night or early dawn, this was silence with weight. The air was heavy, thick, like breathing through cloth soaked in oil. Emeka felt a tightness in his chest. He stepped carefully, as if the ground might break beneath him. His ears rang with the absence of sound. He whispered, "Hello?" Nothing, not even an echo. He walked through the main square. The smell of palm oil, herbs, and dust hung in the air like forgotten dreams. He reached the well. Water sat still at the top like a mirror, polished by the hands of ghosts. He dipped his hand in. The water was cold, unmoving. It clung to his fingers like dew. When it stops blowing, even the leaves hold their breath, his grandfather used to say. In moments of deep stillness or fear, even nature seems to pause. He sat down on a stone staring at the sky. The sun hadn't moved since he arrived. Even shadows looked painted. Time was here but held captive. He wanted to run, but something held him still. It wasn't until he saw the girl that he began to feel fear. She was standing in the doorway of a small hut, barefoot, eyes dark and deep. Unlike the others, she moved. Her chest rose and fell. Her eyes tracked him. She looked right at him. "You can see me?" she asked. Emeka stood. "Yes. Who are you?" She didn't answer. Instead, she turned and began to walk slowly. Emeka followed. He didn't know why. Something in her presence drew him forward, as if he had known her long ago in a dream. Or in a story his grandmother once whispered. They walked past the square, past the sleeping market stalls, past a shrine covered in moss and ash. Even the shrine's small fire was mid-flicker, stuck in some eternal pause. The village's guardian masks were crooked with dust. They stopped at the base of an old baobab tree. Its roots were thick and twisted, like the fingers of a giant reaching from the earth. Birds sat in its branches, silent, unmoving, like carvings. The girl pointed. "There," she said, "under the roots." Emeka knelt and began to dig. The earth was soft as if it had been waiting. His fingers struck something hard. A clay jar, sealed with cowrie shells and red string. Ancient Nsibidi symbols were etched around its neck. "Open it," she said. Emeka hesitated. "What is this?" She stared into him. The reason time is sleeping.
He remembered what his grandmother said when she gave him his first watch. Time is a river. If you trap it, the water will find another way or drown you instead. Meaning, time cannot be controlled. Trying to stop it will lead to unexpected consequences. He took a breath and broke the seal. The moment the jar cracked open, a cold wind rushed out. Grey mist curled into the air, circling the tree, whispering in a voice only his bones could hear. "You dare wake me." The ground trembled slightly. A sound, not a roar, not a cry, rumbled from deep below the village. The girl stepped back. The mist swirled faster. Emeka dropped the jar. It rolled to the side and cracked. The cowries spilled like teeth. The air grew colder. He felt the wind slice through him. Then, movement. The goat dropped its foot. The boy finished raising his hand. The woman struck the pestle into the mortar. The village breathed. And with that breath came the first sound, a baby crying. A woman came running from a hut, clutching her chest. She looked around wildly, as if she had woken from a 100-year dream. Behind her, a man stumbled out, blinking against the light. One by one, the villagers emerged, confused, terrified, some weeping. Children cried, old men staggered like drunkards. Chickens fluttered from their coops. A dog barked as if angry at the sky. Mortars fell, buckets tipped. Chief Obinna, tall and broad like a kola tree, stepped forward. His wrapper hung loose, his eyes bloodshot. He looked at the sky, then at Emeka. "Who are you?" he asked. "My name is Emeka. I found your village, asleep." The chief studied him. Then he said, "You woke the jar?" Emeka nodded. Chief Obinna closed his eyes. Then it begins again. That night, after the fire was lit and food began to boil again, the village elders gathered. The sky above was alive with stars as if they too had missed watching Idu-Ọjọ. The girl, whose name was Adaeze, sat beside Emeka. She hadn't spoken since the jar broke, but now she looked older. Her eyes no longer carried mystery, only sadness. Chief Obinna told the story. 100 years ago, the village suffered a great plague. Children died, crops failed, time felt like punishment. Noi Udo, the old priestess, sought help from the forest spirits. She asked for a way to stop the suffering. The spirits warned her, if you bind time, you bind life. If you stop the sun, you will not grow, only linger. Meaning, time and life are connected. Pausing one halts the other. But grief is louder than wisdom. She created the jar and captured time itself. A ceremony was held. The drums played for 7 nights. On the 8th day, silence fell. The village stopped. The sickness vanished. But so did seasons, birth, growth, and death. Days passed, but never moved. No one aged, no one died. It was like standing in the eye of a storm forever. The villagers did not suffer, but they did not live either, and so they stayed, frozen in a single moment, until Emeka arrived. They knew the spirit of time would not let them go so easily. A final offering was needed, something more than thanks, something from the heart. The elders prepared a ceremony. At the base of the baobab, they placed yams, salt, palm oil, a carved figure of the sun, and an old flute carved by Wani Udo herself. The villagers danced. They sang old songs. They lit sacred fire. Mothers cried, fathers knelt. Children watched in silence. Emeka was asked to speak. He stepped forward and said, "Time is not our enemy, it is our guide. If we run from it, we lose our way. If we trap it, we lose ourselves. Time holds both our pain and our joy. Let us walk with it, not against it." As he spoke, a wind circled the fire. The flame flickered blue, then white. Smoke twisted like a ribbon and rose into the dark. Drums beat in sync with the heart of the land. Then the air grew still. The carved sun caught fire and burned to ash. The jar shattered fully. The drums started again, this time from the villagers. And this time, the rhythm was theirs. Time had returned. At dawn, the villagers gathered to thank Emeka. Adaeze stood quietly, watching the sunrise as if seeing it for the first time. Her cheeks were wet with tears. Chief Obinna said, "You gave us back our future." Emeka smiled. "I only opened a jar, you are the ones who chose to live again."
Adeze walked him to the edge of the forest. Birds chirped. The air smelled of wet leaves. "Will you stay?" she asked. Emeka shook his head. "The world is moving again. I must walk with it." She nodded. "Then go with the blessing of time." He bowed. "And may time be kind to you." Emeka returned to his town and never told the full story. But every year, on the same day, he visited a tree outside his school. He poured libation and whispered, "A man who honors time will never walk in darkness." Meaning, respecting time brings clarity, purpose, and peace. He wore his watch again. And if you go near Idu-Ọjọ today, you might hear a single drumbeat in the wind. Not a warning, not a curse. A heartbeat, a reminder